Hello everyone, welcome to the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. We're today for the Dutch Grand Prix. Frantic leads the championship now after the Austrian Grand Prix. This is the man on screen and currently holds the pole time. The only car to be in the 8-second margin right now. 4 minutes on the clock. Thank you very much for your patience. Sorry for the delay. We are finally here. Anyway. 4 minutes on the clock, not long to go. Lots of cars in the pit lane currently. Frantic out already and setting what is probably going to be their final lap, Zingy, I'd assume. Is that going to be the best position, or do you think they've got enough pace in that car anyway?
Well, I'm not too sure. There's a lot of time left. You can get back to the pits, new set of tyres. So I think everyone's going to have one more chance. And the Netherlands being a short circuit, the track will ramp up quite a lot in these last few minutes. So there's a lot that can happen. Frantic on pole, as you say, at the moment by roughly 6:10, so he has that big buffer. But Jericho Willis and Verf, P2 and 3, I'm sure they'll try and get a lap in and hopefully challenge Frantic.
Definitely. Frantic comes across the line. What's it going to be? As they don't improve, they're going once again. So this will be their final run for sure. We've got Creamy on debut. They're on their way out. PlayStation player. But they should be good to go, hopefully. We've got higher tiers driver of Peanuts and Tom Robb starting at the back of the pack, so they will have a different point system. We've got both Red Bulls in the grid right now, so both Haas's, both Red Bulls. Unfortunately, one of the McLarens has dropped out, so it will be Pepe, the only McLaren driver on the grid right now, and we also have two Racing Bulls as well. But Rare Winters, interestingly, retired early on. We didn't get to see that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see that. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. Verf looking for their first win. So is Jericho Willis. Jericho Willis making a massive step up this season. Even though this is only race 5, they've improved massively over the last couple of rounds that we've been at, of course. But Frantic is going to be looking to try and take this pole position on a different lap. They're going to go now. So, yeah, an interesting call to keep going on these tyres, but everybody else is also going to be following on a similar lap to them. Are they just trying to warm up their tyres, Ingy?
No, he went for 2 laps consecutively because he made a mistake on the first one, he backed off. The second one, he's done the same. And now on his 3rd lap, I believe this to be, he'll try and set a competitive lap time at the moment, but it's this corner here. Again, he's made the same mistake as he does last lap, and that's going to be him not improving with 1:55 to go and 2 lappable tyres. I think that's going to be it for Frantic. You've got people behind him about to set laps like Jericho Willis and Verf Simaxon also on an out lap, so they're going to be looking to beat Frantic, but with that 6:10s buffer, will they manage to get it?
I don't know. It's going to be a difficult one. They've done enough early on in this qualifying session, of course, to be pretty competitive. Now they're not going to be improving. Jericho Willis has actually backed off of their lap as well. Verf also has backed off of their lap. So lots of drivers making mistakes in the early stages of their laps. We're going to go on board with a Haas driver of Creamy, who is going up the hill and is definitely using the energy to try and complete this lap. Currently P7, 0.2 of a second to try and catch, or just under 0.2 of a second to catch Brothers Call and make that position ahead. And Barry Kruger, I hope they're in the lobby, but we can't currently see them. Frantic's in the pit lane. That will be it for the championship leader. In qualifying, they will not be able to improve again. We've only got 50 seconds on the clock, so a few cars will have to try and cross the line as soon as they can if they want to go for this final run. Verf will be doing that. So will Terence. Creamy, final sector. Let's see what they can do here. They've got 2 more corners to go. The bank section, they go over the grass a little bit. DRS will be open and they'll go across the line.
He's just starting a new one, Aaron.
Starting a new one. I didn't get to see that. I wasn't on board.
Backed off.
Yeah, that was a shame, but we will see on board with Verf for a moment. Are they going to be going competitive?
Creamy just went to the pits. I thought he would have been on a lap, but Verf yet on a lap at the moment, using the ERS, coming up to the fast right-hander just after the first sector. 2/10s down on his previous lap, so he needs to find time in this middle sector. Coming through the double right now, very tough, flat through here, and then you want to brake towards into 4th, run the car nice and wide, and on the exit here, you want to set it up for the next corner, compromising your entry slightly for the exit, pushing the ERS all the way down into the 3rd sector, the arena section, braking around 75 metres. He's actually gained that 2/10 in the middle sector, so he could be on for a front row start if things keep up as is. Has a bit of a wobbly exit and coming out the last few corners now, very, very nicely through there. And through the back into the last section, he's going to use his ERS up to the line. Will it be an improvement? I think so, but where's this going to put him? It's going to put him only P3. No, he didn't improve.
P3 did improve just ahead of Samaxon. Samaxon finished a little bit earlier. So Frantic takes pole. Breda's Cause still got to set their lap, but they are saving on the battery, so it doesn't look like they've backed out. Peppy, are they going for one final run? They are doing so, using the ERS all the way up to the line. They're going to run out a little bit just before, but they'll still get the lap done. It's going to be a P10. They will stay where they are, but that is Frantic on pole position, followed by Jericho Willis starting on the front row. Verve just misses out in the end. I say that by a couple of tenths, but yeah, Jericho Willis tried their best to catch up. Instead of 6 tenths, it's a 4 tenths margin that Frantic had. Still quite a big one, and they should be quick in this race with a lot of high downforce. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is the grid, and I'll let you speak for the rest of it, Zingy.
Yeah, Frantic, Jericho Wells, Verve, and you got Samaxon, Bread, Terrence, Barry Kruger, Creamy, Ray Winter, Pepe, Tom, Rob, and Peanuts. Just going for the race director now to see any further instance, and we will see you for the race in just a few moments' time.
Apologies for the delay, guys, but when the race starts, I will be in a car. For some reason, it decided it was going to put me in a car when I definitely did not select to drive in this race. So the start will be a little bit difficult to watch, but we will obviously start as soon as we can and go into turn 1. It might be that we only get to see the exit of the first corner. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn 1? We are away. Sorry for the delay on the start. That was all very interesting. I don't know what Peanuts was doing there to try and get behind, but we are finally watching the Grand Prix as we've got a lot of cars side by side go through the corners. Frantic once again having lag issues. It seems like hopefully it doesn't cause any issues, but they lead by 4 tenths. We've got Jericho Willis in P2. Verf, the top 3 stays the Albert. Sir Maxon has got a bit of trouble off the line. They haven't been able to hold their position. They go up the hill, and there's big contact. Rare Winter goes off, and that is going to be a virtual safety car, and I'm surprised that that's not a full safety car right there. That was a big hit in the wall.
Yeah, it looked as though that Winter just caught Sir Maxon's rear left tyre and they both went into the wall. I don't think Sir Maxon's got any damage from what I can see visually, but just hooking each other, just like what happened in real F1, I think, last season, and they just went into the wall, and that's unfortunately Winter out of this race. Sir Maxon, thankfully, for his sake, he is still in the race, no damage, I don't believe so, but yes, we see Barry Kruger getting a 10 seconds for ignoring a delta, I think, but he's also ghosted, so I think that might be a connection issue.
Yeah, that would probably make sense. I think, yeah, they haven't been able to get back into the lobby. I tried to make sure that they could, but yeah, that is a shame for the the Racing Bull team. I'm just trying to see if I can understand what's going on with Barry here. Okay, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what is going on, but we once again go racing. Frantic leads the way. Verf did not get a good restart, so the top 2 are 3.7 seconds away. That is a bit of a disaster right there for the Sauber car, and Brothers Call is going to have to suffer from that. They're on the soft tyres, so Frantic leads the way on the more advantageous strategy, the more flexible strategy at this stage of the Grand Prix. So they're going to be loving life. They do have the pressure, of course, of the Williams, but it will only be for a certain amount of time. We've got Creamy sat in P5, the last of the top runners of the soft tyre. I say that in the train Barry Kruger still is. Is that an AI or is that their actual car? It seems to be an AI, and I don't entirely know why we can't seem to get them in the lobby. Peanuts having that issue off the start, possibly being involved with an incident. I don't quite know what happened with them, but Simaxon is the next car on that medium tyre, needs to try and find their way through at least a couple soft tyres before they start to wear off, but it's not going to be so easy.
Yeah, I've just noticed, I don't know if you've said already, but the 4.6 second gap between P2 and 3, as we see Bredos Cool going up the inside into the podium positions. But off that VSE restart, Verf must have been snoozing or something, because he's dropped now 5 seconds to the top 2, who are going to be loving life, especially Jericho Willis, who's going to be doing that undercut strategy. And now with the freedom of having no one behind him, he can have that undercut without anyone pressuring him. So Frantic could be in a spot of bother here if he can't manage to break away during the first stint.
Yeah, for sure. We get Barry in, and we'll hope that they can score some points. They've only got 3 laps past, so they will be able to be registered as long as they get in that car sooner rather than later, of course. Now, 4 seconds, it's going to be tough, but we saw a few safety cars around here yesterday, or we saw a safety car late on around here yesterday, so it could be very possible. We somehow didn't see a full safety car deployed with that big crash on the opening lap, but it is the F1 game, and that's what they decided. So currently, looking at the train that we've got, Brothers Call, Verf, Creamy, Sir Maxon, Tom Rob. Terence has broken away a little bit. They are on the same tyre as Tom Rob, but can't quite seem to get there to the pack. Barry seems to have more issues, and hopefully we can get them in the next race, but for now I think their Dutch Grand Prix will be finished. Now, that was a bit of a defensive throw there from Verf as Creamy was looking to try and have a go, but they didn't quite get the job done so far. Frantic now is P2 as Jericho Willis leads the way.
Yeah, no need to worry though, he is on that soft tyre as Jericho is, so I think Frantic's just going to be patient here for a moment, wait for his opportunity for when those tyres switch around, which should be, if I'm not mistaken, around about lap 7, lap 8, you'll really start to see the difference, but Jericho Willis really saving the battery here, holding up Frantic quite a lot. The gaps haven't came down too much as these guys are kind of battling amongst themselves for that last podium position, but at the same time you kind of want to build that gap more and more rather than holding on to what you've got already, because if you're not going forwards, you're going to be going backwards, and that's not really what you want, especially when you've got such a big advantage.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how that one goes. I'm interested to see that actually Tom Rob has dropped back, unfortunately. I don't know what happened to them, but Simatson lost the position to... no, they didn't, so Creamy was already there. I do apologise. Anyway, into the first corner. I think it might be a switch for the lead. It will be Frantic, but I want to see this one. Verf, will they go for the move on the RB? They will. Will we see Creamy go for a move? No, they're being attacked by the Red Bull of Simaxon. It's still side by side. with Bread is Cool and Verf, but Verf gets it on the exit. They would have lost a bit of time to the cars ahead. Right now, are they even going to be able to catch up? I don't quite know.
Well, if they stop the shenanigans and just try and get on with the race and try and close up to them, I reckon they could, because Frantic's not going to be quick for another few laps. And even at that, they've got more people in the DRS train than the top two, so they definitely have the facilities to go for the win still, but they really need to stop battling so much. We like to see it, but for their sake, and if they want to win this race, they need to, kind of wisen out a little bit. But for the moment, Verf keeping on at that P3, Bread is Cool, just staying behind, and with Maxon on that medium tyre, he's going to be that guy to come to the front of the train whenever the tyres do switch around, which should be within the next 3 or 4 laps, I'd say. So Maxon in a very good place for Red Bull and himself to perhaps get a podium this race.
Yeah, for sure. They're not going to want that. They're going to want a win or just finishing ahead of Frantic regardless. I mean, Jericho Willis is ahead of them in the championship as well. So, as it stands, the top 2 in the championship will extend their lead. Now, Red is Cool goes for that move. It's very close into the braking zone as he was trying to take as much of a racing line as they possibly could. These guys need to be kind of lifting and allowing the car ahead to take that racing line so they don't lose the time. But it doesn't seem that they want to. They did get a brilliant slingshot right there down the straight, gaining back a bit of time, so it is somewhat working, but they could definitely utilize it a lot more. It's very, very difficult though for the car that's second in the train, because not only have they got one car right behind them, they've got 2 cars, and they could end up losing 2 positions if they're not careful, and maybe even see the car behind them then fight the car that's just overtaken them, and then all of a sudden you get into a massive brawl and you lose out even more. So they're trying to hold on to their position, make sure that the cars behind don't overtake them, and hope that that works out. It's working out a little bit on the start-finish straight, but now if you look at the gap as they've gone through the lap, it's kind of extended back a little bit. It's still closer than it was before, but only by about a tenth or so. Now we come around the final corner as the top 2 are pushing quite nicely on this straight. That is going to be Terence retiring from the race. That is going to be a safety car eventually deployed. We will be going round once again as Terence crashes into the wall on the exit and the banking section. That is an interesting place to crash. It looks like they must have lost the car on the exit of the penultimate corner on the curb and just spun left on a tank slapper right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Terence retiring from the race. This kind of equalises the strategy, as I believe everyone, with the exception of Pepe, who started on the hards, will be going to that wet roll tyre to go to the end of the race. It's going to be tough to see Peanuts coming in for that tyre, as I was saying, and this kind of messes up Frantic a little bit because he's used one of the sets of medium tyres that he's got. He's not going to have an advantage over the rest of the field. Everyone closes up to within a few seconds of each other. And so it's going to be very tricky for anyone to pull away, especially on this track when there's not very many corners and it's very short. It's going to look like Austria in a way, minusing 1 DRS zone. So it's going to be very tough for these guys. But I think, who do you think is going to benefit from this? I think the soft runners, right?
I'll definitely say the top 2 won't be too happy because obviously that 4 seconds is definitely gone. The soft runners can go all the way to the end of the Grand Prix on the hards. So can the mediums. Everyone can go on the same. Simaxon's decided to not pit again, and now they lost out to this in the F1 tier in Austria last weekend. They were fighting for the podium. They could have even maybe look at the win, but they didn't pay attention to the car ahead and they didn't pit. This time they had plenty of notice to make sure if they pitted or not. They've stayed out. Are they looking to go to the soft tyre at the end of this Grand Prix? I reckon they must be. They're hoping that being on a not fresh set of mediums, but an okay set of mediums will still be quick enough. Now, as we kind of expect in previous races, you can see the soft start for about 5 laps. You see the mediums start to lose a bit of grip on about lap 6, lap 7. I would say lap 7, which is right now, of course, and they're not going to be able to make use of that performance that they currently have in that tyre. But later on down the line, that tyre will definitely drop off around about lap 12, 13. So they've not got that much time to really stay where they are. They've got a lot of pace. They were fighting up the front yesterday, so they definitely know what they're doing. Will they be able to break away? I don't know, but I think they're just looking to try and get some trap positions, stay where they can, and then go for that pit stop. I really still wouldn't say it's the ideal strategy, of course. Maybe they're hoping for another safety car, and if there is another safety car and they don't lose any more positions than they would have before, then they might be alright. Now, we've got Tom Robb, who is trying to get around Barry, but you've got to make sure that you don't overtake a ghost car. Even if it's a ghost car, you just got to sit behind, unfortunately. Anyway, currently lap 8. We'll go to lap 9 now, and he doesn't make a pit stop. So it's going to be a difficult race for Samax on here. They've really taken a big risk. It could possibly work, but it's going to be super tough. Pepe is going to be struggling. I think medium tyre to the end of the Grand Prix is going to be incredibly, well, it's going to be virtually impossible, really. As long as they finish this race, though, they'll score at least 8th place according to the grid right now, because Tom Robb and Peanuts are higher tier drivers. Overall now, who will benefit the most? I mean, Frantic has got a brilliant opportunity. Say they are able to get ahead of Samaxon at some point, then they've got a different tyre in between them and Jericho Willis. Maybe Samaxon's tyres will start to die off and he can hold on ahead of Jericho Willis, and then Frantic can break away. So still, the race leader from earlier on, now P2, still has the best advantage in this race.
I have a question, maybe you'll be able to answer, but I don't understand this strategy from Samaxon. I know it's different, and you want to build a tyre offset, but on the hard tyre, like even like a 10 lap offset, it's only going to be like a 10 for 2 per lap. So what is the thinking here of Samaxon, do you think, and how will this strategy potentially work, even with him being on very differentiating tyres?
He's looking for a bit of a better track position to try and have an easier time. They know they have the pace, they can stay in the train. I think that's what they're hoping for, and they are going to try and take it for as long as they can so they can go on the softs later on, as they got experience with it yesterday as well. So we'll see how that one goes. Zandvoort is the place to do it. A lot of downforce, a lot of corners. That's where you can gain most time, of course, so it is the circuit to go on fresh tyres and make a bit of a comeback, but it's still going to be difficult. That is going to be a collision, unfortunately. Hopefully that isn't a severe issue. Once again now, though, we'll be going racing, and Samaxon goes very, very early, catches off guard many cars. Samaxon is going to lead by half a tenth, but ahead of Jericho Willis is Frantic, and it's almost a second gap right now. We've got Verve going side by side with the RB as they're making a bit of contact possibly, but on the exit the RB has the advantage. Everyone else is slightly in a bit of a difficult situation as Creamy's just lost so much momentum. They're trying to hold on, but it's not quite working out. Pepe ahead of Barry Kruger now, as the ghost car will be losing out more. But that was a very, very interesting restart. A bit of a zingy-esque restart right there as Samaxon does an awesome job. They might be able to break away here, and all of a sudden Jericho Willis, following closely with Frantic, now finds themselves in P3 with possibly no DRS if they can't find a little bit of time that they need on this lap and a half that they've got left to do so, and Samaxon has found himself in kind of Jericho Willis's position instead. So that's absolutely incredible right there. Can they hold on to this? I don't quite know.
If Frantic can now, as the gap's actually went up to 1.8, so Jericho's made a mistake somewhere, but if Frantic, even maybe not this lap, but the next lap when DRS is enabled, if he's able to get past Samaxon, who seems to have great pace at the moment, so maybe we curtained about a bit too early, but if he can get past Samaxon, his tyres will eventually fall off as the gap is going. Oh, once again, as Jericho Willis is being challenged by Bread is Cool here into turn 1. It looks as though he's going to have the advantage coming into turn 3. Verf defending from Tom Robb, who looks as though he's defending from Creamy. He's going to get it over and under, but he can't seem to make the move stick, so it's all popping off for the last spot at the podium, and again it's the top 2 who are running away.
That was a very difficult situation right there, as Brenda's Corsair was trying to go on the offense to defend from Verf. Verf lost the car as there was a little bit of contact, I think, on the exit. Then that meant that Tom Robb went straight into the back of Verf effectively, as Verf was kind of slightly sideways, so that's pretty much destroyed Tom Rob's race right here. Hopefully that they can get back into the pit lane and maybe look at something a little bit later on. But yeah, that's pretty frustrating from them right there. It's side by side as we go into turn 11 with Peanuts and the Haas of Creamy, as they're not able to get the job done. Creamy is going to hopefully hold on to DRS and these guys will continue, but Simaxon and Frantic lead the way. 7/10 splits them, so Simaxon is absolutely pushing right here, but 3 seconds in one lap is absolutely immense from the top two.
Yeah, these two are pulling away very much so as Jericho doesn't actually get challenged into the first corner. I think there's a bit of contact between Tom, Rob and Creamy as Creamy tries to defend his position from the Haas, which he does so very well. Looks so Tom Rayner he can't seem to find a move at the moment, stuck in P8. We know he's quick. Oh no! There's Verf! Verf's in the wall! It looks as though he's lost a bit of his front wing as well. Verf pushing a bit too hard, battling for the top 3, and that is him without a front left end plate. And it looks as though he's managing to just get back on track, but he's going to be absolutely miles behind now. And it looks as though his race could be over unless he can get it back to the pits and hopefully get a safety car to save him.
Incredibly frustrating there for the Hungarian driver. What a shame to see them go down the order like that. They might be able to have another opportunity later on. We saw Heischler pretty much spend most of the race at the back of the pack effectively as the championship leader. He didn't give up, and now he's still the championship leader. Waited for the late safety car that eventually came around about lap 24, 25-ish. And yeah, that definitely, I say that, is about lap 20 actually. So yeah, definitely helped them out. We've got a fight going on as Tom Rob is looking to make the move ahead of Peanuts and ahead of the Haas driver. Despite having the damage, they're determined to make it work. Peanuts is on the inside line. They'll have the advantage, still sticking their nose in, going on the gravel however, and that will mean the Haas can go through quite nicely. And Pepe as well makes that move. So brilliant stuff right there. Pepe really making it work today, enjoying Zandvoort it seems. The fighting definitely brings everyone nice and close together, and they're utilising that awesomely. Now, Bredders Core and Jericho Willis in the meantime have broken away a little bit. The gap is slightly large, but overall they're still losing more time to the top two, with Simaxon, despite being on really old medium tyres where the hard should be quicker, is pushing quite nicely right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's overdriving too much. I say that as he steps out the rear end just a little bit. It looks as though he's able to just control his pace, and with that keeping Frantic behind. I don't think Frantic's going to be rushing at the moment. He's got nothing to worry about. There's no point making a daft move down the inside if it means that you're going to potentially crash and ruin your race when you've basically got it in the bag. You've got a 4-second gap, no pit stops to be made, and you're arguably the fastest driver around this track in this race. So if you can just get past the Maxon eventually, which it looks as though he's getting closer now, he could win this race, no bother. But if Jericho Willis and Bredders Cool can work together, then there could always be that chance. But it looks as though they're just struggling on that hard tyre, as we see Bredders Cool going a bit wide coming into the bank section. So maybe a car setup issue, maybe a tyre temp issue, maybe underheating the tyres because they are hard tyres. But we don't know that just of yet. We'll have to wait and see. But it looks so Frantic and someone are doing very well up front.
You've got some very high grip corners, you've got some very low grip corners around this circuit, so you've got to try and set up the car for both, and it can be very difficult. So you've just got to try and make use of it and hope you can get to the end of the race effectively. Now, looking at the situation with Simaxon tyres, they did a brilliant job on the restart. They gave themselves a 4-second advantage over the other cars, except from Frantic, of course, their championship rival, along with Jericho Willis. Now Frantic is going to be making this move. These two worked together quite nicely yesterday. Well, I say that they were up at the front for a while. So they can definitely, they know each other's traits effectively, is what I'm trying to say. Now, this is going to be interesting. Will they be able to hold on? I don't quite know. The tyre difference is quite a lot, and it is a circuit that will be very dependent on that tyre wear. But Simaxon did prove out otherwise yesterday, of course. So they do have a lot of pace in that car. I will just once again repeat that. But I'm just trying to think. They're giving themselves the best chance to be able to make a bit of a comeback later on. They probably would be able to get ahead of Creamy. They would definitely get ahead of Peanuts because obviously you're a higher tier driver. Would they be able to get ahead of Bread is Cool and Jericho Willis? I don't know. That will be a very, very difficult task for them, of course. They're looking to go to that soft tyre for the end. They could in theory do 15 laps, of course, as they did yesterday. I don't think they would want to, so I think we can see Simaxon, unless everything goes horribly wrong. They're currently in the DRS train of Frantic, of course. I reckon they can get this to around about lap 25, 26, and then go for that soft tyre all the way to the end and just push to the maximum. We'll see how that goes. It's not going to be a battle with Jericho Willis or anyone else. I don't think we're going to see Creamy go from even to the first corner. We're not going to get any overtakes on this lap, and Simaxon's going to be settling behind, although very close to Frantic. They're just going to be settling behind Frantic now and trying to use the hard tyres pace to reduce their deficit on that medium tyre that is really going to make them struggle. But they slowly extend that gap. 4.6 seconds now they've made it, and we could see that maybe extend further if they're not careful, Jericho Willis. But Jericho isn't really getting pressure from behind necessarily. 6/10, 7/10 gap, it's kind of the sweet spot. You've got a car that you're bringing with you, but they're not going to be in attacking range. 5/10 is what you need to really make this move into the first corner effectively. So 6-7 tenths, if they can just keep that up, they don't need to be worrying, and they can just focus on the car ahead, and they are doing a pretty good job of it. That being said, they've just lost the car slightly, but no problems at all.
Yeah, Bread is Cool isn't really matching the pace as much as we see Simaxon and Frantic switching over. Bread has been struggling to keep up with Jericho, that I was saying. Into turn 1, he's not going to go for the move, I don't think. Jericho was a bit defensive, even though he was definitely not going for the move. But it looked as though Jericho was dropping Bread. He was about 9 tenths ahead, and then Jericho made a little bit of a mistake. So he definitely has the pace to drop Bread and really push himself, although that's not what you want, because obviously you need that help of DRS to get yourself up to the top 2. But if Jericho can solidify a P3 and not have to worry about what's behind him, he can maybe find by not having someone behind him is pressuring him so much.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely will be good. I'm sorry, I missed a little bit of that from my side. I don't know if the stream caught it, but I like that a little bit there, so I do apologise, Ziggy. But we continue. Now, lap 17 out of 36, I was saying how Simaxon probably won't be going for the overtake on Frantic, but they actually did. In that time, they did gain a few tenths. So whether that be from the slingshot of the slipstream and the DRS, I don't quite know, but it seems like Simaxon isn't that slow despite being on that severely disadvantaged tyre. So they're just making it work. Their tyre wear management is phenomenal. That's Frantic dipping a wheel into the grass in the first corner, but not actually getting any problems from it. So they're very, very lucky, and then hopefully they notice that and maybe don't do that again, because otherwise they're going to put themselves in a sticky situation. Pepe, Tom Rob, they've lost DRS to one another, but also to Creamy, but Creamy holding on to the back of the higher tier driver and currently looking like they're going to be in a very good position. They do have the time penalty, unfortunately, but they are working together with that Mercedes car to maximise their result on debut. So brilliant stuff right there from them. The AI of Barry goes into the pit lane. Just double check that it is an AI, and Verf should be able to make that move as they try and stay in this race to see if they can make a little bit of a comeback later on. Never say never for a late safety car. It happened yesterday. It can happen again. All right.
Yeah, Simaxon on those. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, carry on, Zingy.
Yeah, 17 lap old medium tyres for Simaxon, who's still very, very close to Frantic. He is going to be looking to go that soft tyre, I would like to imagine. He's going to use the ERS and the DRS, and never mind, he's coming into the hard tyre. I'll just eat my own words then as he comes into the pit lane very nicely onto that hard. He's not going to give himself the chance to push as hard as he can for the last 8-9 laps. He's going to play the safe strategy and try and catch up. But with these guys on hard tyres, as I said earlier on, will they be able to catch that back up or not?
Like I said, it's the circuit to do it at. nice and consistent on the hard tyre. I think they should have really probably pitted earlier if they were going onto the hard tyre. They didn't have to do too many more laps to really go on to that soft tyre. But they weren't happy with it, I guess, and maybe they were looking at puncture range, so they had to make this decision. So maybe not planned the way they wanted it to be, of course, but we'll see. Something that I'm quite impressed of that we didn't see so much yesterday, but everyone's been clean into the pit lane entry. That being said, Pepe goes for a retirement. That's going to bring up the full safety car, and Sir Maxon has had an absolute nightmare. As I was saying, I thought they would have stayed out a little bit longer. That is on the exit of turn 9 into turn 10. Pepe crashing on the right-hand side. Sir Maxon is going to be absolutely furious with this situation. Frantic will be able to go into the pit lane for fresh mediums to the end, and Sir Maxon once again finds themselves in the back of the order, currently P7, and fighting for the slightly lower positions. No slouches back there, but it's not where they wanted to be. Of course, with their risky strategy was kind of looking like it could possibly work, even though it'd have to be very aggressive. Frantic will lead the way, and yeah, that's a difficult one. As I was just saying, we saw time penalty speeding quite a bit yesterday into the pit lane. We didn't see it any time this time around, but we do see it now. Sir Maxon is going to be, I'd assume, taking that time penalty by pitting again. They will probably drop back behind Verf, I would assume, because the safety car will be bunching up everyone right here. So that does mean that Sir Maxon, if they serve that time penalty, they are probably going to end up last. And Zingy, I think it would be probably wise to serve that time penalty, surely.
Yeah, was he one of the soft runners? If so, he's got a new set of mediums to go to, and he should be fine going to the end on those. And yeah, I mean, he's pit for the hard tyre, and then he's had a big issue there with the safety car coming out the lap after he pit. Like, that's one of the worst things that could happen to you. Then getting that penalty, of course. He'll only lose, I think, one position. His Verf is a bit too far behind, and then, of course, Barry being that AI car. But at the same time, it's not what you want to see. He was looking for a good strategy there, get some decent points, and now he could be battling for P6, which is not where he wanted to be, considering how well he was playing that strategy.
I think what Sir Maxon has to do here, starting on the medium tyres, by the way, they don't have another set of mediums. So they either go to the set of hards that they were just on, which can be absolutely fine, or they wait until the next lap to pit, although that might not actually be available because the other cars are catching up quite quickly. They decide to not pit. They do decide to pit. Anyway, sorry, that's a bit of lag. Ignoring yellow flags, another 10-second. They're incredibly frustrated as they went very slow to try and not speed, but they went in a little bit too early, I think, so that's 20 seconds, now making it 10 again, but they're probably not going to have the ability to serve that next 10-second time penalty. That being said, if they went into the pit lane again, they would be able to put that medium tyre back on. So this is going to be an interesting one, but yeah, either it was going to be the hards or it was going to be the softs, which they'll try and carry for as long as they possibly can. If the safety car goes in, which I'd assume it will be going in, they would be struggling but able to make it to the end. They would be able to finish ahead of course, Barry, but also Tom, Rob and Peanuts, as they are higher tier drivers. But it is going to make it incredibly difficult to get anywhere further up. So they'll finish about P6 currently, if they didn't make any moves ahead of any other cars.
I'm Sir Maxon, and I'm very, very frustrated. You've drove this whole race incredibly well, right? And then you've got this situation where you've went all the way back to the back of the pack, and the safety car is probably going to come in this lap. He's not going to be able to serve his 10 seconds. He's on the offset tyre, which isn't going to be well for the end of the race. And he's going to have little to no chance of getting anything out of it unless there's another safety car towards the end. We'll see in just a few moments' time when he closes up if that safety car comes in. If not, he's not very lucky as the safety car comes in.
Yep, it has the ability to come in quite late around this circuit because the sector line is a little while away and then there's a couple of corners. So the more corners there are, the more likely it is going to be able to come in later on. Frantic will be leading the restart. Jericho Willis to react, and they go for the restart. Once again, Jericho Willis not able to react too well. It's not going to be a problem for Frantic into the first corner, but it's not a massive restart. As they go side by side, though, it's going to be Creamy trying to have a go on the Ferrari of Tom Rob. They're looking like they're ahead on the exit, and I think Tom Rob's going to have to give that one up. They don't want to risk another front wing loss. They do keep it together for now, but Verf is on the attack. I say that, though. Simaxon is going nice aggressive on this soft tyre, and they're trying to make these moves very, very early on in this race, which is exactly the right thing to do. And they're looking to the inside of Tom Rob. Surely that's not going to work. It just about makes sense. And now he's got the inside as they go into the next corner, but there's going to be contact again. They're lucky to stay, and that is going to be actually Creamy off the circuit down to P last. So yeah, that's a pretty disastrous situation for them, and they weren't able to keep the car in a straight line. They do get damage. That was pretty distressing right there for one of the Haases, but the other Haas does lead the way. So Maxon's still going for moves, and they finally make it ahead of Tom Rob.
Yeah, Creamy had a bit of damage, I think, from overtaking Tom, and that's made him understeer, go off onto the curb, so he's going to be out of contention here. So Maxon really using that soft tyre, going from P9, or P8, sorry, up into P5. He's going to be looking for the move on bread coming into turn 1 if he can find an opportunity, being very aggressive like he has to be. You can see how close he gets to the back of that V-carb. It looks as though he's not looking. It looks as though he's struggling right now to find a move, but coming into the fast right-hander, we've seen him try before. A bit of contact with Tom Brainerd. He's charged up the battery just a little bit, but I think Bread's using a bit of VRS to just keep him behind for the moment. But coming into the middle sector, he has a lot of grip, and he's got the advantage of, well, obviously the grip, so he's going to see if he can try and make the move eventually, but at the moment he's not been able to find the move. Maybe coming into the left-hander here, catching him off guard. No, he's going to stay behind for the moment. If he does for too long, he's going to have mega issues with tyre wear.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to be really careful because they don't want to lose the DRS train. That would be pretty difficult, but they are at the mercy of whether the other cars will fight. They can see that Simaxon has got a 10-second time penalty, so if I was Breda's Core, I probably won't be fighting it too hard and just hope that this soft tyre can make things work. They're very close to the back of that RB, looking for the outside line, which is very risky, believe it or not. You can lose the car quite easily, as you saw Frantic DNFing to the inside line as Simaxon, as they're trying to go on the attack, is the RB. Now the Red Bull is now still on the inside. It's all very pushy and shovey. It's incredibly confusing, but to the outside line they're going to be shown the curb. Surely they're not going to get the exit, but they're using the energy, and they've ended up losing the ERS and the DRS anyway, still holding that inside line as the Red Bull, but they do eventually back off and keep it in a straight line. But now that is going to be Peanuts pretty much escaped, and I don't think they're going to be able to catch back up.
Yeah, battling a bit too hard for the podium positions. Peanuts managing to get away. Bread losing it just by 2/10 to that DRS. Does he have damage? No, he doesn't have damage. I thought he had damage there for a second. So Maxon's going to be looking for that move around the outside coming into the arena section. He's going to make the move before the corner. But this means Bread and Tom are going to get both DRS coming down a long main straight, which could put him under a lot of pressure considering he's got not much battery left. He's been pushing it a lot, going a bit wide in the last corner, compromising his run just a little bit. Can Bread get back ahead of Simaxon? Coming into turn 1, he's going to use the battery. Tom Brainerd is too. He's going to go right around the outside. Simaxon defends to the left. It looks as though, they've made a bit of contact coming into turn 1. Tom Brainerd again just having to step back and wait, getting a good view of this battle, but he can't seem to make the move, and Simaxon just can't get past Bread and keep it.
Tom doing the right thing as a high tier driver, just letting these guys fight and then seeing if they can pick anything off if they make mistakes. So we appreciate that very much from the Ferrari today, as we see Simaxon and Breda's Cool give us one of the closest battles we've seen. A little bit of a wheel bang here and there. It's not going to get much closer than that, as we get Jericho Willis losing the car, dropping behind Peanuts. There's a bit of contact as they went through 9. Now we go through 10. DRS is still going to be available for Jericho Jericho Willis, as Peanuts will be leading the battle. It will bring Bread Cool back into DRS for a free pass. That is incredibly lucky for the RB and the Racing Bull. Sorry, the Red Bull and the Racing Bull, as Tom Robb actually loses out instead. I don't quite know what's going on. Everybody's switching up, but what I can say, a 3-second margin right now, it looks like Frantic has, and I don't think that's really going to be contested. Peanuts does lose out as Jericho Willis once again makes that move, and there's contact. It looks like, unless he was making that move. No, I don't quite know. It was lag. I do apologise for that one. It's a bit of an overreaction. We see everybody in a train. I thought they weren't going for the move, and I was just caught off guard, but no, they were just lagging out. It's on my side, I believe. Zingy, I don't know if you're seeing them lag at all. Hopefully you're not.
No, they're fine on my screen. They're just having a bit of a battle there. It looks like Jericho Willis, making that mistake, dropping back a few seconds, and now Peanuts, Bread, and Samantha in that battle for P2, sorry. It looks as though Peanuts could get the run coming into arena, but I don't think it's worth it considering the DRS you're going to get on that main street. You've got 4 cars all battling for that second spot. Frantic got away a little bit, and Tom Brennan making that mistake earlier on. He's going to be sitting there languishing and ruining his losses when he is at the end of this race being P6 when he could have had P2.
Yeah, for sure. Such a shame for the situation, of course. We're going to see Peanuts making that move outside line, and then the racing line for Jericho Willis. It's going to be side by side though, with Sir Maxon once again with Bread Cool. They're just trying to sort it out between each other, and it's still very close despite both of them having DRS and not really having any straight line speed advantage over either driver. They're still fighting tooth and nail. Now, soft tyres, they're only going to get slower from this point onwards. Maybe not with Sir Maxon and his tyre wear advantages that he seems to have, but yeah, it's a difficult one, but they're trying their best. They got to be careful that it doesn't go too far. Right now, they're just managing it, and it is on the absolute limit, but we'll see how that goes. These guys aren't really losing much time to Frantic, but I do wonder if Frantic is just currently on limitation right now, just making sure that they don't get any warnings or lose the car at all. Yeah, I think they could be okay as long as they don't get any lag issues. Now, I just want to quickly clarify, Zingy isn't getting these lag issues, so it would suggest that it's not a server side, it is just a viewer side. I do apologise for this lag. We will get a better quality recording of this race available after this race tomorrow and Monday. They'll be uploaded as we get once again side by side with Sir Maxon and Bread Cool. They're not going to have the advantage into the first corner, but that is going to be Jericho Willis losing the car on the exit of the first corner. It will allow the RB to get involved. The Red Bull had to try and have a look. They're going to have a look on the exit.
Just looking for a move on Sir Maxon, struggling a little bit in the turbulent air. He'll find a way through at the moment. Jericho Willis also dropping back from Peanuts about 9/10 now, so it looks as though he cannot make the move either. And up into the last corner, can Peanuts actually drop Jericho? He's 8.5 tenths, 9 tenths. He's got the DRS, but he's not got any battery left. As we see coming onto the main street, he's going to have to use everything he's got left to get that gap back. And it looks as though no one's going to make a move into one, but out of all this, Tom Brain has caught up, and everyone else is just losing time to Frantic, so all this battling for nothing basically is Tom finally getting back into it, 1.3 back. He should get the DRS if these guys continue at a pace like this, but it's going to be very tricky for him to make any moves considering how strong that DRS and Slipstream is.
Yep, for sure. We're back in, and thank you very much, Zingy, for that one. I do apologise, everyone, but we will get, of course, the recording and be able to possibly edit it in the future. But yeah, 3 seconds gap, just a quick update that Frantic has. We saw the battles going on. I was focusing on getting us back into this one, so I do apologise for that again. I'm just going to try and stop talking about that now because I'm very fed up with it. But Peanuts leads this battle as Jericho Willis right there. Simaxon, of course, with the 10 seconds. So they're fighting. It's probably not the smartest thing to do. That being said, they only need to worry about Verf at the moment. They were, I believe, 7 seconds ahead. But now They're only 6 seconds ahead, or is that maybe, I don't know what it's quite looking at, or looking like. But Simaxon currently looking to finish behind Verf, which is going to be frustrating. It's actually side by side with Yerko, Willis and Peanuts, as Peanuts actually tries to hold on this time, and they're not going to be looking to work together in a train.
Retaining track position, Peanuts is. It looks like he just wants to kind of control the pace as those last few laps. He might try and do what I done at Spain, just controlling the pace out front and then making a break for it and breaking the battery. Well, he's got some battery, much as he would have liked. Simaxon on that 9-lap old soft tyre, doing very well indeed to keep up with the pack. He's been very, very quick on old tyres. I don't know how he does it. It's very impressive that he's managing to get the performance out of them coming through the last corner. It's a bit closer between everyone now. It looks as though is going to get that DRS. He's going to go into turn 1. He's going to try and look for the move. A bit of battery use, not too much. He puts it, he fakes to go left, then goes right down the inside. And that's a nice, simple textbook move into turn 1. He's got to watch out, Peanuts, now, that he doesn't get overtaken by Simaxon, who's still looking, even with that 10 seconds, to get as much as he possibly can.
Now, we are finally back. Sorry for the delay. We're just trying to let it load in. Now we're good to go. Now, Simaxon sitting behind. They've made that move on Bread is Cool. And Peanut still leads, not leads the way. Yerko Willis leads the way. I don't know if Simaxon's going to be able to get ahead of the top two, as these guys are going to be in the peak performance of the train. That being said, maybe Simaxon will be blasting their ERS to try and go for the double overtake. Maybe they could push. Just maybe they could push. If they can push, they can try and break away a little bit better on this 10-second time penalty. That being said, though, their tyres aren't going to be getting any fresher. But this train does seem to be working quite nicely ahead of Verf, who is losing a bit of time. I don't think they've got damage. They're just not able to be able to keep up with the train up ahead. Frantic leads the way as they start lap 32. Yerko Willis currently leads the train, but that could change very, very quickly here. As they lose the car, that's a lag once again. I do apologise. Simaxon not able to be close enough to make a double overtake this time, but Peanuts is able to make the move.
Yeah, Peanuts making that move into 1. He's going to be looking to hold off Yerko once again. It looks as though that they both have roughly the same amount of pace, Simaxon too. It looks as though everyone in this train's got the same pace, apart from Tom. Caught up, he just seems to be struggling, saying that he literally just made a mistake there. So yeah, Tom maybe over pushing the car a bit much, perhaps a bit frustrated after the earlier excursions he's had on track. But now he's got to have a bit of composure, wait those few laps, and really go for it in the last 2. He has time to wait. He's got people ahead of him who are fiercely battling, and if they have contact, he's going to be there to capitalise on that. So he's just got to charge that ERS and look for a move when he can. He can't force it, otherwise it might go all down the drain. And for how much he's went through this race, I can't see why Tom would risk anything.
Yep, definitely. I think they've just got to watch this happen and hope it all plays out. Peanuts, of course, is leading the way. They've got to be careful that they don't affect the championship too much. They're able to do what they're able to do. They are allowed to do what they to race, of course, if the other cars race them, but they've got to make sure that they just take it easy and don't go for absolute sends. Lap 33 out of 36, we are coming to the final laps of this Grand Prix, and everything will start to heat up. Everyone will be starting to save their battery. It looked like the Red Bull was incredibly close to making that move ahead of the Williams there, but they didn't quite get their nose in. It would have been silly to stick it any further. They would have found themselves probably in the wall with no front wing. But they keep it together for now. 2.7 seconds. Zingy is frantic, just trying to maintain this lead and make sure that they don't push too hard.
I think Frantic's just trying to be quite disciplined here, Aaron. He's just wanting to get to the race, no issues, no warnings, no mistakes. I know Frantic's got at least 4 or 5 tenths in the car. You can tell by the way he's driving. It's very relaxed. You can look on the onboard. The car's not really turning too much. He looks as though he's just trying to drive to the end rather than actually push and race to the end. So he's got nothing to lose. He's got everything to lose, nothing to gain. Sorry. And it looks as though he will be just doing that to the end of the Grand Prix.
For sure. For sure. All right, the championship leader looking to try and extend if they can, but the battles are not going to change yet. We're not going to see any overtakes. We're hoping that it will happen soon, but it will probably happen within the next 2 laps. whether people start to try and go for the move on the start-finish straight to start the final lap, or if they're going to try and get it up to the line, which you can do around this circuit. We'll see how that goes. Igor tried to get it up to the line on Nifojan yesterday. We disconnected. We didn't quite get to see it, but they had it on record, and it was absolutely epic by 0.02 seconds of a gap in the end between those drivers. So yeah, it could definitely happen. We could see something change. So Maxon is going to really have dead tyres at this stage. They're getting to the final limits of this. They won't probably get a puncture, I should say. It wouldn't be impossible to get a puncture, but honestly, I'm very impressed that they're able to keep up in this condition that they've currently got.
Yeah, still looking for a P6 result as we see Creamy, Barry, and Verf all having their. So he's still going to get some good points if he doesn't put it in the wall, for goodness sake. Losing the back end there, slightly maybe showing how bad the tyre wear is. Speaking of tyre wear, it looks as though Peanuts with 1 lap older tyres might be struggling a little bit, although it was under safety car. Maybe that 1 or 2% that he did get could be really hampering him, as Jericho has picked up the pace a little bit over these last few laps, looking to make that move eventually. It's the penultimate lap of the race. Frantic's got that gap, and it's going to be a big and massive battle for P2 here. There's going to be 5 cars all battling for this position, and especially with Jericho and Bread being close together, Jericho and Maxon, being very close together. Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen? Well, we'll find out in a lap and a half. As Frantic still holds on, 2.8 seconds, they're maintaining that gap, but it is going to be Peanuts and Jericho Willis going to be fighting. I mean, Simatson is probably very unlikely to be able to get that time penalty removed. Maybe they're hoping that they could do, and it might not be impossible if they can report it, of course. We'll see how that goes. Jericho Willis needs to make sure they get ahead of the higher tier driver and have the higher tier driver car in between them and their championship rival, so they can ensure they score these points. DRS available as they start the final lap of the Grand Prix. Jericho Willis making the move into the first corner. It's not going to be so easy. The Mercedes tries to brake as late as they possibly can, and it looks like they might have it on the exit. It's all the way up to the curb on track limits. They're gonna make it side by side. It's so tight. Through turn 3, up through 4. Peanuts makes a mistake. They ghost, and luckily Simaxon will not be affected, but it is going to be a great opportunity here for the RB to make a move. No, they have to wait, and they'll get another opportunity possibly on the DRS straight. Will Simaxon be able to hold on with DRS?
Yeah, it looks as though Simaxon has lost a lot of time there, making that mistake as Peanuts goes down the inside of Bread, coming into the slow right-hander. He looks as though he's going to go for the switchback. A bit of contact, not once but twice. Tom Robb is going to be looking for that move as Simaxon's dropped nearly out of DRS. It looks as though Peanuts going to try and make the move. He's a bit of contact. He's lost his wing. He's pushed Bread off into the gravel, and Tom Robb now makes it free wide, and he's going to make the move stick. He's going to make it stick. Peanuts is going to get the move there. It looks as though Tom didn't get DRS. Peanuts got the DRS. Coming up to the line now. Frantic wins. Speed 2 goes to Jericho. Simon, Maxon came P3 up to the line. It looks as though Tom gets that P3 in the end. Peanuts 4th, and Bread just losing it on the line in P5.
Absolutely incredible. Of course, Brad will get that podium for the current tier drivers, but it does mean they won't have an opportunity to finish ahead of, Simaxon, if Simaxon tries to get that removed, of course. So, an absolutely crazy battle at the end, but currently the driver that is the one to watch. They've managed to, despite missing Singapore, win every single race that they've attended this season, and they are going to be absolutely loving it. With that last restart of the safety car, it worked out perfectly for them in the end. They didn't make too many mistakes, if any at all, and they took the victory, as they probably deserved, really, right there. Very, very unfortunate moments right there for this man, though. Simaxon has had an absolute tragedy of a race with luck-wise. But we'll get the results on your screen, and we'll go to the post-race interviews. We've got Frantic taking the win with the fastest lap, and Jericho Willis in P2, Tom Robb Peanuts, Bread is cool, Simaxon, Verf disconnecting at the end, Creamy P8, and then we have Barry Kruger, who will be classed as disconnected. DNFing was Peppy, Terrence, Rare Winter, and also myself, which won't make a difference in the championship because I was not registered. Now, the incident section, the pit stop section, and we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back to the post-race interviews. That was a crazy race, but for this man, in the end, it looked pretty straightforward. How was it from your view, Frantic? That's another win. That is a win every single race as long as you've made it to the race. So, yeah, pretty good for the championship right now.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Frantic gang, lovely, just lovely. Hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Pole in qualifying, P1 in the race, and fastest lap. That's total domination, as Alonso would have said it. So, happy with that. I love it. There were some pretty fun DRS games with Jericho and Simon, so I want to thank those guys for working with me. That was really cool. But I mean, yeah, as you said, straightforward race. Kind of boring almost, but I mean, I enjoyed every second of it because that's really the first time that I've been in so much control during a race. So, I mean, it's always fun. It's a thingy simulator, so that's cool. Yeah, looking forward to the...
Sorry, it just cut off at the end there. Looking forward to what?
Oh, next race.
Nice. All right. Sorry for that. I just completely lagged out. Next race, USA Grand Prix. Do you like it there? Do you think you can do well?
Yeah, I gave it a 10 during the track vote. So I mean, I hope I'll enjoy it. Like I don't. So looking forward to it. Can't wait, and I hope I can win there too.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Frantic. Congratulations. Well done on the championship extension in the lead, and we'll see you next time.
Appreciate you.
We go to Jericho Willis. That was a very, very difficult race, of course, at the end. Not where you wanted to be. You were up the front for a long time with Frantic, of course, leading the way. It looked like it may have been just a 1-2 between you guys and sorted on the final stages of the race. But the safety cars didn't go your way massively, did they? I may be lagging, or we can't hear you. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we can't hear you. Alright, we'll quickly check in with Jericho later on, if we can, and see if we can get them.
Hey, you guys.
There you go, now I can hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm back.
No worries. I'll quickly mention what I said just again. Very good start to the race, of course, being 1-2 for a while. It was a lot more difficult later on with the safety cars, of course, that made it frustrating. But can you take us through your race? How were the safety cars for you?
Well, the first one was terrible because I was not planning on being on the hards today. So obviously you could see when I got on the hards, right away I had difficulty keeping them warm, and I didn't have the pace initially. I was hoping for a soft medium race. That's kind of what I had prepped for. I had the setup for it, and I kind of planned out my pace. And it was strong at the beginning. I was able to hold on to Frantic, even though he was like 4/10 faster in qualifying. So I knew it was going to be a challenge. But on the soft, it wasn't a problem. But I was hoping to make it to lap 14 or 15, go to the medium. So, but anyway, yeah, that safety car was tough. But the second safety car kind of brought me back into it. Had good pace, had enough pace to stay with Frantic, minus a couple of little mistakes. So with no mistakes, I could stay with them, could have had some fun and maybe, put in a challenge there somewhere. But was a battle with Peanuts down to the last lap. And that was good fun. I sent him a message right after the race, and I said, did I leave you enough space? I was trying to. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I certainly tried to, but I saw he got a little squirrely there coming out of the third corner. So hopefully he's not upset. I hope I gave him enough space. I have to look at the replay and see. But a lot of fun. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good. And congratulations on a lovely podium there as well for you. Championship campaign is looking pretty good as well. Extending in P2 in the championship right there. If the safety cars didn't come out, do you think you would have had the chance for a P1?
I mean, you always have a chance with the power of, the slipstream and the DRS games. There's always a chance. And we saw, even Frantic can make a mistake. We saw that in the main race yesterday. And so you keep pressure on somebody, it can always happen. But keep working on my pace, pick it up a little bit. Probably to be within a tenth or two Frantic would probably be what it would take to have a legitimate fight for the win. But there's always a chance if you're there. So there was definitely today.
Yeah, you're so right in that one. So well done. And trying to carry the good momentum to your home Grand Prix. Maybe, do you think you can get a win there?
I haven't checked time trials yet to see what kind of pace Frantic has there yet, so I don't know for sure, but that's normally a pretty strong race for me, and hopefully I have enough time to get prepped for it, but I do enjoy that track a lot. It's got a little bit of everything on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think, a podium is definitely, a possibility, and like I said, if I can keep pressure on Frantic, anything can happen, so we'll see.
Awesome. Well said. Thank you very much. Well done today. Congratulations on the good result, even though it didn't come quite so easy as you may have expected it to. But yeah, thank you very much, and look forward to the next race.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. Take care.
And we move on to Peanuts. Peanuts, that was a difficult one, of course, trying to start at the back and then making your way up the order. But the fights at the end were fierce.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm actually kind of devastated. I felt I was in control of at least the podium. I think I could have gone P2, and then I just Jericho. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Was just out of my league today. I mean, I just made a bot mistake. I just made rookie errors. I thought I had put that past me, from last season. Now all I'm doing is trying to maximize every result. But it's kind of devastating. I thought I was back. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, of course, starting at the back of the grid, it's always very difficult for a higher tier driver. So to do what you did, still is quite impressive. So don't take anything away from that, despite the ending. Just as I always say, the bad times make the good times great times. Moving to USA, if you can make it there, do you like that circuit? Do you think you can get a good result there?
Well, the thing is, the more technical corners used to be my strong suit in the last game when I actually raced with line, but now it's like the more technical, the slower I am. So I tend to be quicker around traditional tracks, which are a lot easier. Yeah, no, it's a tough punch what happened today, but I would try to rebuild. I mean, I was not expecting fighting for P2. Something I just jumped into this race feeling that I was going to be quicker than everyone except Frantic, which kind of turned out to be true. But Frantic was out of my league. But sure that should be difficult. I was fighting Newfoundtail last lap. I don't know who that said that, but
Yeah. It was a very, very, very tight battle. But thank you very much. It was a really good effort, and yeah, good to hear that you're willing to go again for the USA. It will come eventually.
Barely.
Don't you worry.
barely. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, but well, thank you very much. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Samaxon. Samaxon, that was absolutely frustrating, I assume, from your side. Obviously, not the start that you wanted. Then later on, it looked good. And then what happened? So obviously, the speeding in the pit lane was difficult. But then what happened with the second time penalty?
Yeah, the first penalty I checked, it was 1 km/h over the 60 limit. And during this, decided to pit, and when coming to the pit lane, I got maybe, I think it was a random 10-second penalty.
Okay, I see.
Or I think nothing. So I were more and more frustrated that I could just show what I could have done in this race and pushed to the limits I had. That's when I contact with Brady's School, and this also made my front wing damaged, and was driving behind of Jericho and Peanuts to the end.
Do you think if that late safety car didn't happen, the second safety car didn't happen, you'd have been able to fight for the win?
I don't think for the win, but for a podium, I had the pace and the hards would be really hard to stay on the track.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, the next race, US Grand Prix, it's a very, very different one. It's got a lot of low speed and a lot of high speed. Do you like that circuit?
Yes, I actually like the circuit. I don't know about my pace on it, but we will check how things will go on it, and maybe I will be able to fight with Frantic.
For sure. Thank you very much, Sir Maxon. Really good effort today. Sorry it didn't go the way you wanted it, but hopefully it goes better next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we move on to Tom Robb. Tom, that was obviously always going to be difficult starting from the back of the grid, but you gave it your best shot. And thank you very much for, of course, being patient with the cars ahead and not going for a move left, right, and centre, of course. It got very, very, very tight in the final few corners there.
Yeah, it's always difficult starting from the back, but I have to get used to if I want to do another few races as a higher tier driver. Had a really good pace the whole evening, probably at least second fastest. What I should expect from myself when I'm getting in here as a higher tier driver, with no disrespect to the others, but just made a lot of mistakes, especially in the fast right-hander with the weird curb. Mostly getting too wide of an entry and touching a bit the grass on the outside. Yeah. Got saved a bit with the safety cars, and then in the end, I just wanted to have fun, and as I was a really nice guy last week, I wanted just to see some chaos in front of me this time, so I decided to try some things in the last 2 laps, and I think it worked out just fine for everyone.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's a difficult one, and it is a big risk to do that, but I guess if it worked out, then you're lucky. So yeah. Moving on to the next race, the US Grand Prix. Is that a circuit that you like on a controller? Is that going to be more easy for you or not so much?
It's a good circuit for me, but I would like to hear another controller player say something about it, as he didn't share his thoughts yesterday. So, Singy, what are you thinking about it? If he is here.
I don't think he's here. He's not here. I think he does like that circuit with the low traction.
He is here.
So...
He is here.
He is here. He's unmuted now. Okay, Zingy, go ahead.
Tom?
He said,
what are
do
your
you think
thoughts?
about the circuit?
What, USA?
Yeah.
Oh, very good track, very good. Very, takes a lot of driver skill to do that, and that's why I always come out on top in that race, so... yeah, it's very nice, very good.
Thank you very much. All right, Tom, really good effort today, and thank you very much for the efforts, and we'll see you next time. And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies for the connection issues. Hopefully we can get that fixed for next week. Incredibly frustrating. Yeah, and we'll see. Make sure you look out for the full race replay that will be uploaded within the next 48 hours. And we'll see you next time for the USA Grand Prix. Bye-bye.